In 1947, the territory of British-controlled Palestine was trapped in an escalating cycle of violence. Arab and Jewish communities were locked in increasingly bitter clashes over the future of the land. Great Britain had governed the Mandate since the end of the First World War, but exhausted and financially depleted by the Second World War, the British government announced its withdrawal, handing the crisis over to the newly established United Nations. This map shows the Resolution 181 partition plan, dividing the territory into an Arab state, a Jewish state, and an international Jerusalem. Slicing an area the size of New Jersey created highly fragmented borders for two peoples with deep roots in the exact same territory. The diplomatic intention was to peacefully separate two overlapping claims. Instead, the proposal immediately triggered a war. For decades, the Zionist movement had organized waves of Jewish immigration, called Aliyot, into Ottoman and later British Palestine. The goal was to re-establish a national home in their ancestral homeland. Then came the Holocaust. The systematic murder of 6 million Jewish people in Europe shifted the scale of the crisis. Securing a sovereign sanctuary became a matter of immediate survival for those left in the camps. Hundreds of thousands of displaced survivors had nowhere left to return to in Europe. The refugees arriving on ships like this one carried a clear message on their banner. Statehood in Palestine was the only guarantee of safety. Because the need for a sanctuary was absolute, the Jewish Agency, the representative body for Jews in Palestine, officially accepted the UN partition plan. The proposed Jewish state had disjointed, difficult borders. But for the leadership, securing a sovereign, recognized safe haven in the wake of a genocide took priority over any territorial compromises. At the exact same time, the Arab population of Palestine had built their own homes, culture, and deep historical roots across centuries of continuous life on that identical soil. The Arab demographic majority viewed the partition plan as an imposition by foreign powers. The UN map required them to surrender over half of what they considered their ancestral homeland. From the Palestinian perspective, a glaring injustice was taking place. They were being told to give up their territory to solve a massive refugee crisis caused by a European genocide for which they held no responsibility. Acting on these principles, Palestinian leaders and the surrounding Arab League rejected the United Nations resolution entirely. To the Arab communities living there, agreeing to the partition meant voluntarily signing away their own land and accepting colonial displacement. On November 29, 1947, the United Nations General Assembly officially voted to pass Resolution 181 over the intense objections of Arab representatives. The vote did not bring order. Within hours, violence erupted across the territory as Arab and Jewish militias engaged in a brutal internal civil war. The international attempt to draw a line on a map forced two opposing groups, both fighting for their own survival, into a direct and violent collision. On May 14, 1948, the head of the Jewish Agency, David Ben-Gurion, formally declared the independence of the State of Israel. This map shows what happened the very next morning. The armies of 5 neighboring Arab states, Egypt, Transjordan, Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon, crossed into the newly declared territory. The internal civil war immediately escalated into the First Arab-Israeli War, involving heavy artillery, armored vehicles, and widespread casualties. The events of 1948 are recorded in history under 2 different names. For Israelis, it is the War of Independence, a war where a newly formed state survived the combined military forces of its neighbors and established its borders. For Palestinians, it is the Nakba, Arabic for catastrophe. Over 700,000 Palestinian Arabs fled or were expelled from their homes, creating a massive refugee crisis. The fighting paused with a series of armistice agreements in 1949. Israel retained the territory allocated by the UN and captured additional areas, while Egypt and Jordan controlled the rest. No official peace treaties were signed, and no independent Palestinian state was established. The violence of 1948 decided where the borders were drawn, but it answered none of the underlying questions about who had the right to call the land home. It froze a conflict of 2 opposing, deeply rooted claims in place, setting the exact terms for the next 75 years of history.